In a parabolic advance is an advance that accelerates over a period of time. Not only does it go up steadily, but it goes up in an accelerating manner. And we can find all kinds of stock charts that have had one or two, maybe two parabolic advances on an arithmetic chart. But to have a parabolic advance on a scale, on a log chart, is just spectacular. The parabolic advances in Bitcoin, an accelerating market that is accelerating the acceleration. And, you know, I've traded for 46 years. I've studied charts over really centuries. Somebody would have told me that there would be a market during my lifetime that would not only experience a parabolic advance, but experience 4 parabolic advances, not just on an arithmetic scale, but on a log scale. I would have bet my life against that. This is just unbelievable. People get caught up in the daily motion and the daily moment of Bitcoin without realizing we're seeing a market advance unlike anything we've ever really seen before. To have 4 parabolic advances on a log scale in the course of a 10-year period is just unheard of. I would challenge anybody to find a price chart of any asset or any commodity item that has gone through this. This is history in the making. This is something that history books will be written on. As a trader, it's just unbelievable that I can participate in a market that is going through a situation like this. This is just spectacular, a spectacular ride. And everybody that's involved in Bitcoin can know that they're really taking part in history. As a chartist, this is just something so special, I really can't even express it. What I have noticed looking at the exchanges in terms of the bid-offer spread, what happens on the bid, what happens on the offer side, is oftentimes when a market blows off, and we hear some people say this is a big bubble, we're blowing off. There are characteristics of a bubble. One of them is that markets go up fast with bids. There's aggressive bids that take place in the late stages of a bull market that kind of blow it off. And all those bids come in and chase the market's FOMO. What we know is retail FOMO takes place within the whole market. This market is very different. What I've noticed is the market's not necessarily going up on aggressive bids. What's happening is an offer comes in and just immediately gets taken. And so this nature of the bull market is such that what I see is whenever something is offered, it's just taken immediately by somebody who's willing to take the offer. So rather than going up on bids, it's going up on higher offer prices, higher and higher offer prices. That may sound like there's really no difference to people who aren't familiar with how markets behave. But for me, as a technical trader, that's really significant, because it shows me that there are big names that are saying we're not going to chase the market, but whenever something gets offered, we're willing to take it. In those cases where I have seen an asset or a market or a commodity have the kind of parabolic advances that we're seeing, what they have been primarily is currency markets. They've represented the destruction of a currency, a monetary system. They have been the currency against the dollar. So in other words, how many of these currencies can $1 buy? We saw it in the German mark in the 1920s. We've seen it in third world currencies in Africa. And so when we look at Bitcoin beyond just being a technology, but being a form of money, the only other charts that I can see when I look back in history that have a similar parabolic move have really been currency charts that have been the destruction of that currency. I'm just curious as to how Willy relates to Bitcoin, also as a form of money, as a monetary system, because monetary systems are the only places where I've seen charts that have a similar parabolic move. Initially, for me, Bitcoin was a chart. Then Bitcoin became just a trade. You know, as a trader in the US, I've always measured wealth based on US dollars, right? I want to collect US dollars. I want to look and know that my US dollar worth goes up at a steady rate, maybe has some jumps along the way. And so Bitcoin was just a trade. But I think really within the last year, my mindset has really changed, is that Bitcoin is where I would have wanted all my wealth at some point in time. I really look at it very different, because if my goal as a trader has been to accumulate more US dollars, what that now tells me is I had a wrong goal, because my goal was to accumulate the weakest asset in the world, the most depreciating asset in the world, and that's US dollars. And so my mindset's really changed within the last year in terms of moving from Bitcoin as a trade to Bitcoin as a measure of wealth. The magnitude of the advance, the nature of the advance in Bitcoin is really can't be compared. It is in a class by itself. Of course, we have some other crypto coins that have had a similar move, but I think in my mind, Bitcoin's the legacy. It is crypto. Crypto is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is crypto, and obviously we do have some of the other coins and altcoins and so forth. And so we can't compare it, but in some sense we can. As a classical chartist, I think Bitcoin is the purest market there is. And so, it complies with what I know to be history in terms of classical charting, but at the same time, from a more broader picture, from an historic picture, it's one unto itself.